Robert Cassard from GuitarDiscoveries.com. Welcome back to my ongoing series about what my favorite singer-songwriters taught me. Now today I'm going to say thank you to the ever-popular but surprisingly polarizing John Denver. So John has sold over 33 million records just in the US. Lots more than that globally. He had his own TV series, multiple TV specials, he appeared in movies, and he either wrote or co-wrote numerous classic songs, including one of the most recognizable songs in American history, and yet critics spent years calling him corny. So here's the question. Was John Denver soft and lightweight, or was he one of the boldest and best singer-songwriters of all time? Now today, I'm going to break down the three most important lessons I learned from John Denver's music and life, plus an unexpected lesson that even surprises me. All right, let's dive in. So if lasting popularity is the measure of an artist's impact and relevance, there's just no denying that John Denver is one of the very top singer-songwriters of all time. As I record this, he's been gone for almost 30 years, but he's still got 9 million monthly listeners on Spotify. That's more than other living greats like James Taylor and Cat Stevens. Okay, real quick, take a sec to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Please leave a comment. Tell me which camp you fall into. Is John Denver overrated or underestimated? All right, Henry John Deutschendorf, born on New Year's Eve 1943, died October 12, 1997. Now, of course, Henry John was known professionally as John Denver, and he was one of the best-selling acoustic artists of the 70s. 33 of his albums and singles were certified gold or platinum in the US, 12 gold and 4 platinum LPs. Now, he recorded and released approximately 300 songs, and he wrote about 200 of those himself. AllMusic.com says he's among the most beloved entertainers of his era. And that's an interesting way to put it. Not most beloved singer, songwriter, musician, but entertainer. We'll come back to that. So, John's father was a very stern, decorated Army air pilot. And John eventually became an avid pilot himself. But early in life, John was known as an introvert who didn't really fit in. Pretty surprising, considering who he became. He grew up mostly on Air Force bases in Arizona, Alabama, and Texas. His grandma bought him an acoustic guitar at age 11, and he sang in the Tucson Boys Chorus for a couple of years. Now, junior year of high school, he goes rogue and drives his dad's car to California and tries to start a music career. But his dad flies right out to get him and forces him back into high school until he graduates. Then John studied architecture at Texas Tech while he got deeper into music. And he played as a solo act in clubs and in a folk group called the Alpine Trio. He dropped out of college in '63 and followed his star back out to LA. And in 1965 joined the Chad Mitchell Trio. He changed his last name to Denver when Randy Sparks from the New Christy Minstrels told him Deutschendorf won't fit on a marquee. Now it's 1967. John self-produces a demo, and it has an original song called Babe, I Hate to Go on it, later renamed Leavin on a Jet Plane. And the well-known folk producer Milt Oken hears the demo. And he brings the unreleased Jet Plane song to Peter, Paul, and Mary, and it becomes a #1 hit in the US, #2 in the UK. All my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye, but the dawn is breaking, it's early morn. Taxi's waiting, blowing his horn. Already I'm so lonesome I could cry. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. 'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back. Oh, babe, I hate to go. So right out of the gate, John is a #1 hit songwriter, and by '69, he's already signed to RCA Records with Milt Oken as his producer. His first 3 LPs don't make much of a splash. Rhymes and Reasons, Take Me to Tomorrow, Whose Garden Is This? Ever hear of him? But then Jerry Weintraub signs on as John's manager, and he really knows how to promote. So in 1971, the album Poems, Prayers, and Promises really puts John on the map. I personally think the title song is one of JD's best, and I do want to take a moment to highlight the contributions of John's lead guitarist, Mike Taylor. Check out this opening riff. That's Mike's work. I mean, tasteful and beautiful. And whenever it was coupled with John's strummed rhythm guitar or finger picking, those interweaving guitar parts just glisten. Okay, back to the album Poems, Prayers, and Promises. Most of the album's success hinges on the hit Take Me Home Country Roads, which got all the way up to #2 in the US and over time just became massively popular worldwide. And that brings me to Denver lesson #1. Write from where you stand. Now this is kind of like the adage, write from what you know, but a little more specific. Because John didn't write lyrics and music based on trends. He wrote based on his own musical tastes and his own terrain. Literally, I mean, mostly mountains. He and his wife Annie had been living in Minnesota, and they took a camping trip to Colorado, just loved it, and decided to move to Aspen, where John lived for the rest of his life. I mean, the mountains really inspired him. And instead of writing in abstractions, he wrote about specific places and how they made him feel. Songs like, I Guess He'd Rather Be in Colorado, Starwood in Aspen, Aspen Glow, Rocky Mountain Suite, Cold Nights in Canada, Song of Wyoming, etc., etc. And then, of course, 2 of his most popular songs, Take Me Home Country Roads, which has well over 1 billion streams right now, and Rocky Mountain High. Okay, let's look at Country Roads. John and his co-writers, Bill Danoff and Taffy Niven, they didn't just write, I'm longing for home, right? They honed in on West Virginia and how it was almost heaven. And the singer asks the country roads to take him home. So John sings this song in the key of A. And in that case, he was finger picking just open chords, just cowboy chords. So if you want to play it like him, that's what you have to do. A is a little high for me to sing, so I play it in G. So I do Almost Heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. But now check out how Mike Taylor's lead part elevates the whole song. Almost Heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain mama, take me home. Country road. It's beautiful. All right, then there's Rocky Mountain High. It's John's lyrics with music co-written with Mike Taylor. That magical synergy again. So in a 1974 interview, John said, Mike sat down and showed me this guitar lick, and suddenly the whole thing came together. We changed the sequencing of the album we'd just completed, and then we changed the album title. Of course, you know that lick, right? Born in the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before. Left yesterday behind him, you might say he was born again. Might say he'd found a key to every door. When he first came to the mountains, his life was far away, on the road and hanging by a song. But the string's already broken and he doesn't really care. Keeps changing fast, but it don't last for long. The Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain fire in the sky. Talk to God and listen to the casual reply. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Really so cool. Now, notice how John didn't write, "I had a spiritual awakening." He wrote about his own personal Rocky Mountain High. It's the specific places and writing from where he really stood that made the lyrics unique and memorable. So when I was learning to write, these songs really taught me the power of writing about a real place, which could be physical or emotional, but writing from your reality automatically gives your songs authenticity and a little more gravity. These songs have made the Blue Ridge Mountains synonymous with a nostalgic all-American memory of home, and the Rockies have become a symbol of rising up and getting high and reaching your peak. Now, some people thought John's outdoorsy persona was fake, just a brand. They didn't understand it was authentic. You know, the mountains weren't a brand he adopted. They were home to him. They were the place and topography that he loved most. Critics were skeptical, but the general public could feel that sincerity and they ate it up. So I remember buying his next album, Airy, also from '71. And there's this song called The Eagle and the Hawk. It's another co-write with Mike Taylor. And John sings it at the very top of his range. You know, it's hitting this high tenor A. It's from the perspective of the eagle and the hawk, so I guess it should be high. And when I heard it, I thought, this is the sound of majestic mountains and nature. And I never doubted he meant it 100%. Now, I can't come close to singing it in his key, so I shift it down a fourth. But you can probably still feel the drama. Reach for the heavens and hope for the future and all that we can be and not what we are. So during the 70s, I really got into nature and conservation, and looking back, I realized John Denver's music was one of the factors that fueled those passions and got me out on the lakes and streams and backpacking in Colorado, Arizona, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, etc. And I am just so thankful for that. Those cross-country trips inspired a lot of my own songs and really changed my life and whole perspective on the world. All right, Denver lesson 2, choose optimism even when it's uncool. I learned guitar, started writing songs, and really came of age in the 70s. And that decade wasn't exactly sunshine and daisies culturally. You know, we had the late Vietnam years, Nixon, Watergate, high inflation, the gas crisis, a lot of rising cynicism. But while all that was happening, Denver was singing positive songs that became huge hits, like Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Or, well, life on the farm is kinda laid back. Ain't much alone, country boy like me can't hack. Early to rise, early in the sack. Thank God I'm a country boy. Or, you fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain. You know, John sang those songs with zero irony. No edge, not even a smirk. And more critics turned on him for it. You know, they labeled him sentimental. They said he was too clean, too wholesome. Ironically, I think that became John's rebellion, because optimism is its own form of risk. It's kind of like taking off your armor and exposing yourself. You know, you're going to invite eye rolls, but it also takes guts, and John did it proudly. You know, experiencing John's music back then as it was released, it was in contrast to almost everyone else, right? And for me, his hope didn't come off as weakness. It was really a creative stance of its own, because while pop culture was assessing everything for coolness, John had this radical sincerity that was kind of like the antidote to all that. And that's something a lot of modern artists forget. You know, these days the algorithms reward extremes and outrage and controversy. Also what I call spectacular sameness, where stuff just sounds all the same. But John's music holds up because it was and is different. And I think it proves that if you don't fear judgment and you do wear your heart on your sleeve and you're willing to express hope and positivity, your songs can really inspire people and last. I mean, here we are 50 years later. Me making this video is proof that hope ages better than hype. All right, lesson 3, align your life with your lyrics and vice versa. You know, John didn't just sing about nature, he lived it. While he was singing about beauty and peace and love and environmental stewardship, he advocated for environmental causes. Like I said, his image wasn't manufactured, it was integrated. You know, the happy grin and the wire rim glasses and the 12-string guitar and the big outdoor shows like Red Rocks. I mean, the brand and the man matched. I was a big fan from the late 60s to the mid 70s. And then I admit I lost interest in his later songs and albums because to me, they seemed a little less inspired. They were a little more preachy and his voice changed. It became more pop operatic, I would call it. And that just wasn't my taste. But my respect for him as a person and an ambassador never wavered. His lyrics shifted to humanitarian themes and sustainability themes, and he just stayed in alignment. He actively was seeking solutions to world hunger and supporting schools and hospitals and space exploration. And I really appreciate that he never tried to be trendy to win critics back. He just kept living the messages in his music. Okay, I promised a Denver bonus lesson. Popular doesn't have to mean lightweight. So at his peak, John Denver was everywhere, right? Radio, television, film, stadium tours, massive record sales. He was this fun, super likable, all-round entertainer. And in certain circles, that sheer popularity and high entertainment value disqualified him from being taken seriously as an artist. But offstage, he had serious challenges. In the 80s and 90s, of course, his fame ebbed and he struggled. He stopped having big hits. His relationships dissolved. He had 2 divorces, multiple DUI charges. And then in 97, he died unexpectedly at the age of 53. Even though he was a very experienced pilot, he crashed a recently purchased light plane. It was made from a kit, and he crashed it into the Monterey Bay in California. Even that's true to form. He died doing something he loved. He was flying high in the outdoors. I think knowing about his real-life challenges makes his total commitment to hope and optimism in his music that much more poignant. I mean, go back and take a fresh listen to his classic early 70s albums. He could be an incredibly subtle and expressive singer. Like I said, the guitar work is just pristine. The songs have beautiful melodic arcs and chord progressions that sound so natural. It's like they'd already been around for 100 years. And I think that's the John Denver genius. It's the discipline of writing simple things that sound timeless. Because for John, simple doesn't mean easy, accessible doesn't mean shallow, and mass appeal doesn't mean artistic compromise. In fact, I'd say writing something millions of people want to sing without dumbing it down, that's really elite craftsmanship. So many artists hide behind complexity because they don't dare be clear and transparent, right? John risked clarity, and clarity can be terrifying because there's nowhere to hide. Okay, quick recap. Denver lesson 1, write from where you stand, your physical and emotional terrain. Lesson number 2, choose optimism even when it's uncool. Lesson 3, align your life with your lyrics and vice versa. And finally, the bonus lesson, popular doesn't have to mean lightweight. So I'm thankful for the kind of anti-cool example that John set. He showed it's possible to be gentle and strong and optimistic and serious and popular and principled, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do as a songwriter is actually mean it. I mean, more than any other singer-songwriter, John Denver taught me that you don't have to become darker to become deeper. All right, what's your take on John Denver and his music? Please take a moment, share your thoughts, pass this video along to other fans. And for hundreds of videos about great singer-songwriters and lots of inspiring music topics, visit guitardiscoveries.com. You're also going to find my new crash course to help you play guitar and sing with total confidence. All right, see you soon, hopefully right now. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home.